What's going on, ladies and gents? Jake, a.k.a. Countdown Ended, coming back to you once again with my indentured servant paying off her tab, Danielle. That's right, we're back again. 2020 Royal Rumble, here to give you our preview and predictions to one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. Danny, why don't you go ahead and say hello to the people?
Hi, guys.
So that's right, we're back once again and here to break down the matches that are coming to you this Sunday at the Royal Rumble. As I said before, one of my favorite shows of the year. Always exciting, lots of twists and turns. Hopefully some unexpected things happen, and it isn't as much of a cluster as we're presuming it will be come Sunday. But we're going to go ahead and kick things off right away. We'll get into it. That's right, first up on the pre-show, we have Shorty G, Chad Gable, taking on Sheamus. Sheamus coming back from injury, been out for quite some time. And here, you know, his first matchup is going to be against Shorty G. Not that impressive of a matchup here. Certainly works to kill some time. Before I give my prediction, Danny, who do you think is going to win here and why?
Well, we haven't really seen Chad Gable do anything in like a little while. And Sheamus is returning, so I think that Sheamus is going to win. Dad?
Yeah, that's a great point because, unfortunately, Chad Gable got a good bit of momentum with the King of the Ring tournament, and then he lost there, changed his name to Shorty G, and has done absolutely nothing since. So I have to agree with you fully, and I agree entirely. I think this is Sheamus's return match, and he's going to win. He's going to come out victorious, so pretty easy there. That'll likely start the kickoff show. It is a 2-hour kickoff, so they might add more matches day of. We'll see. If that's the case, we'll tweet out other predictions. But I agree with you with Sheamus. Next up, we'll head into the United States title being defended. That's right, Andrade, with Zelina Vega in his corner, is taking on Humberto Carrillo. We went ahead and we saw Humberto return this past Monday after being taken out by Andrade with injury. Humberto was, DDT spiked onto the uncovered concrete on the outside by Andrade and has been out of action for roughly a month at this point in time. We've seen Andrade, after taking the belt from Rey Mysterio, defend it against Rey in a pretty hellacious ladder match this past week. After the match and Andrade gets the successful defense, we see him continuing to attack Rey Mysterio. That's when Humberto comes out to make the save, and this match was announced right after. I imagine this will be on the kickoff show as well. But, Danny, who do you think is going to win and why?
Well, we did previously just see Andrade be successful in defending his title in the last ladder match that we saw him in. But I think Humberto, seeing as he is coming back from an injury, this might be his moment. Also because he's gone for the title before. Dad, what about you?
I'm agreeing with you there. We went ahead and, we've seen him go ahead and come back from injury, and that makes sense for what you're saying. But then again, the more I think about it, I have a hard time seeing Humberto win right away. I think they might want to have some flavor in the chase here. So if we see Humberto come up short but look good in defeat, that might be what they're going for. Now, we've seen him, Humberto try for the United States title several times and not be successful. He's gone against AJ, and time and time again he's lost. So I'm kind of perplexed here that if he doesn't win, it's essentially, not a full burial, but it's pretty close too, because it just proves that time and time again when it comes to the dance, he can't prove his worth. So if they don't have him win here, they better do something that really protects him in defeat. I'm going to go with Andrade. I'm going to say Andrade goes ahead and retains here, just for the simple fact that they're, focused on him being the champion at this point in time, and it seems legit. So it's certainly a match to watch out for, though. Next up, you want to go ahead and announce the next match, Danny?
The next match is the last man standing match with Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin. Dad, what do you think? Who do you think is going to win?
See, this is an interesting one because there's a few scenarios here at hand. Originally, with this feud, it was all about a numbers advantage happening. We saw Baron Corbin, or King Corbin as he likes to be called now, since winning the King of the Ring, having the advantage with Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode in his corner. Then the Usos returned to make things even once again on Roman's side. And they've gone back and forth. Originally, the rumor was that these two were going to have a loser eats dog food match. Now, that still might happen in the future, but thankfully that's not the case for the Rumble. This is just going to be a straight up fight. I keep going back and forth with this, but I actually believe that Roman Reigns is going to lose this match. Again, like I've said so many times before, betting against Roman is like betting against the Harlem Globetrotters, but I feel like he's going to lose to set up a victory later in the night. So Roman loses here due to, the numbers game prevailing once again. King Corbin gets the upper hand. That allows them to keep this feud going, which kills time on the way to WrestleMania, but it also allows Roman to possibly win the Rumble later on. So I'm going to say that King Corbin wins here. Who do you think is going to win and why, Danny?
I think that Roman Reigns is going to win because it would be a way for him to look strong going into WrestleMania.
Yeah, with the WrestleMania season coming up, that is a great point. So a big win here, and if it comes out your way, that ends the feud and allows Roman to be cleared up for bigger and better things heading into the WrestleMania season. So I think they're going to try and pull what they've done so many times before, where someone loses earlier in the night and then that leads to a big win later on. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to stick with Roman losing. You're saying that Roman's going to win. So we're not lined up this time. Next up we have,
it's the Women's SmackDown Championship with Bayley versus Lacey Evans. I think that Bayley's going to win, seeing as she didn't win the last match that we saw with her and Lacey Evans against. Well, not really the match, but like the little feud that they had. And I haven't really seen Bayley do anything very big in a while. Dad, what do you think?
Yeah, we were there in person at Money in the Bank back in June, where Bayley won the Money in the Bank, cashed in at the same time, and got the title. So since then, she's just been kind of floundering. She hasn't had any real, feuds of note. She did make the transition to a heel, destroying the Bayley buddies, cutting her hair. That was kind of the last big thing she did. So if she can pull out a defining victory here over Lacey Evans, that'd be pretty shocking, especially with how strongly they've been building Lacey. They presented her as the every woman, the true classy Southern belle. She's a veteran that that narrative they pushed very hard, and she's a real veteran, unlike Sergeant Slaughter. So that alone is great press and a good look for them. You can always stand behind the American. But with all the effort that they've put here into Lacey, I can't see her not getting the victory here. We've seen Bayley, like I said, for upwards of 8 months or so now, hold on to this title and not do really much with it. I feel like it'd be a bit refreshing to see Lacey take the title. They can get the rematch out of the next show and then open up for a new feud for WrestleMania. So that kind of sets up, Lacey versus either Sasha Banks or someone else down the line. But I don't think she's done with Sasha either, because they've promoted them two facing off and not had a match in quite some time. For the past 2 weeks, it was supposed to be Lacey versus Sasha. That didn't happen for various reasons. And I could honestly see, Lacey and Sasha facing off at the next pay-per-view or the Saudi show. That would be a big deal to have Lacey Evans, who already wrestled once in Saudi, defend her title there. So that's something I could see them going with as well. So you're picking Bayley. I'm going with Lacey Evans. Next up, we have
the Universal Championship with The Fiend versus Daniel Bryan. Dad, who do you think is going to win?
Okay, this is one that I'm greatly looking forward to. Ramblin' Rabbit said that there is a key to beating The Fiend. He went ahead and said, there is a way to beat him. He's not indestructible. And then just as he was about to tell Daniel Bryan that secret, we found out that snitches get stitches, and Ramblin' Rabbit has been, he's no more. He's rest in pieces. So since then, Daniel Bryan had the brilliant idea to set a trap with his Team Hell No partner, Kane, to, go ahead and surprise The Fiend and keep him from escaping. Daniel said that every time The Fiend goes ahead and, starts to get injured, he escapes. So Daniel's great idea is to go ahead and have the stipulation that it's going to be a strap match. This way The Fiend cannot run away. Now, I truly believe that the story they're going to end up telling at WrestleMania is that the source of The Fiend's power is from the red light. They kind of set this up a while ago, and I think that's what they're going with. I don't foresee the strap match really playing much into the storyline, just besides it being a gimmick. So we're going to see The Fiend retain over Daniel Bryan here. I think it'll be an excellent match, but I'm not giving Daniel a chance here to win the belt. Who do you think is going to win, Danny, and why?
I think that The Fiend is going to win because he seems very unbeatable, and I'm sure he's going to find a way to win.
Yeah, that makes sense. They've booked him as that, indestructible zombie, and now that we've both given our predictions here, I'm going to give you a little insight. I didn't tell you before, but the Saudi show that I mentioned that's coming up February, I believe 27th, I think is the date. I don't have it in front of me. I apologize, but that's the next Saudi pay-per-view that we're getting, or network special, and it's been advertised locally overseas that we'll be seeing The Fiend take on Kane. Now, again, take that with a grain of salt, but the local advertisements mentioned that it would be a Inferno match, actually, which I would love to see. We haven't seen an Inferno match in, it feels like, 2 decades at this point in time, but I know we did see Kane take on the Wyatts, I believe it was, for the Inferno match, so that it would be, it'd be cool to see one again. That one's always forgotten, and we kind of get a rehash of what they did there. That was a lot of fun to see. I'm all for it, but if that's the case and they're already advertising that match, we pretty much had an idea that The Fiend was going to retain here, but now it definitely seems that that's the setup.
Well, hearing that information, I feel like if The Fiend does win, he'll have some power against Kane if he does face off with him, because he could say that he's already beat one of the Hell No partners, so now he can beat Kane too.
Yeah, that makes a great deal of sense. Next match we have up is Becky, the Man Lynch, with her Raw Women's Championship, taking on Asuka, who is one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions. So this one, again, I kind of have a few thoughts here. We don't have many named participants for the Women's Royal Rumble. Could they be so bold and blatant to repeat last year, where Becky loses to Asuka again and then goes on to win the Rumble? I doubt it, but it's something to consider. Asuka has been looking extremely strong heading into this match. She's beat up and taken down Becky time and time again. She's destroyed her and Charlotte for the tag team championship titles and defended those successfully on multiple occasions. So they've done a great job with building up Asuka and making her look like the one that can topple the man, and the one thing that Becky has not done to solidify her run as champion. So Asuka is definitely in Becky's head, and that's the story that they're going with here. Because of that, and because we're so close to WrestleMania, I feel like this is the pinnacle moment for Becky's run as champion. She's held the belt since WrestleMania, and I feel like what they're going to go ahead and say here is that she's finally able to topple the ghost that's haunted her, the skeleton in her closet. She took down Asuka in this match, and that'll solidify her title reign. So I think Becky will beat Asuka here clean, and we'll go ahead and see what happens going forward with the tag team titles.
I also think that Becky is going to win, because I feel like she needs to beat Asuka to prove that she's the man.
Yeah, that really seems to be the story that they're going with, and it just makes the most sense. Next up, we have the Women's Royal Rumble. Now, we only have 5 participants officially entered so far: Sarah Logan, Nikki Cross, Charlotte Flair, Natalya, and Alexa Bliss. Now, there's a lot of back and forth here as to, rumors, speculations. Danny, who do you think else is going to just be in the Rumble before you tell me who you think's going to win?
I think that Sasha is going to be in the Royal Rumble because she hasn't been set up for a match yet in the Rumble. And I also think that Naomi might be in the Rumble because this could be like her big moment back.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a great deal of sense. We're also hearing the possibility of Nia Jax returning as well. So that's one that is intriguing. Would they want to do some type of big moment with her and have her win it all? I mean, that would certainly not interest me, and I think most of the audience, but WWE does favor Nia Jax, and they gave her a huge moment last year in the men's Rumble, coming out as number 30. She attacked R-Truth, took his spot, and I actually forgot about that entirely. So that's how memorable that was until doing research before. But yeah, she ate the RKO and several finishers, so could they try and do something like that with the women's Rumble with her return? That's a possibility. Who do you think is going to win, or who at least will it come down to?
Well, I also think that Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler will be in the match. I would love to see those two be the final two because that would be a very interesting match. Also, seeing as they're like a part of the Four Horsewomen, that would be a cool last ending to see. But I do think that Ronda's going to take the win.
See, now, the funny part is, and people, well, let me get Ronda out of the way of the cleavage there. Sorry, that's the moneymaker. Got to move her over a little bit. That's better. Sorry, everybody. But I've said it for months now, and we originally had heard speculation that Ronda, when she does return, because we know she's coming back eventually, would return at the Rumble, and that would be her chance to vindicate her loss at WrestleMania last year when Becky pinned her on the mat for 1, 2, shoulder up, and then 3, so they can rewrite history with that awful finish to the match. There's a great deal of speculation that Shayna Baszler also would be moving up to the main roster, and she would go ahead and have her big victory come in the form of a Royal Rumble win and go ahead and take on Becky. Either one is a perfect choice and opportunity, and people may not believe me here when I say this, but I honestly didn't give you any insight as to what I was thinking before this. Right? I went ahead and I allowed, because I wanted you to have your own opinions, your own thoughts. So when you, said to me, hey, I think that Shayna and Ronda would be a great final two, I found it kind of impressive and, a bit of a surprise, but it seems to work. And I think that's what a lot of people are thinking. So even if they're not, both facing off against each other at the end there, just having them both in the match, I think would be a huge, huge gain for the Rumble as far as star power goes. We're also hearing that, besides, like you said, Naomi possibly returning, but Ruby Riott as well maybe returning. That could be interesting. We could see a Riott Squad moment with, Liv in there as well. Do we see Lana once again in the Rumble, even though she got taken out last year and Becky took her place? Do we see her enter this time and have some type of story continuation with her and Liv? There's quite a few surprises I'm sure they're having, but I'm not sure who they're going to have as far as legends maybe come back. I don't, maybe Lita, but I don't picture Trish coming back this time, and I don't foresee them using Beth Phoenix once again. So we'll see what happens, but there's a lot of spots open. I mean, there's only 5 officially, named so far. I hope it's a good Rumble. I'm going to go ahead and stick with what I've been saying for months now. I'm going to say that Ronda Rousey wins. She comes out late in the card, 27-30, at one of those final 4 numbers. We see her and, her point to the WrestleMania sign. She goes ahead. She gets that huge Rumble win here. And we see her take on Becky at WrestleMania 36. So I think that's likely what's going to happen. I know a lot of people are convinced that Shayna could also be the one to be victorious. Either one of those two winning, I think, is a great victory for the fans because we'll get one of the the best possible outcomes as far as WrestleMania goes. But so you're sticking with Ronda winning?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you and I do agree here, and then we come to the conclusion.
The next match is the men's Royal Rumble, and in it will be.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar is number 1. He entered himself at number 1, saying that no one is worthy. No one can step up to the plate and take him on for his title. So he's gone ahead and he's entered himself into this, right at the start, which leaves us with not so much just predicting a winner here, but there's 3 main questions. Does Brock get eliminated? And if so, by who? When does Brock get eliminated? Is it early, middle, late? Does he stay for the whole, duration of the usually 60-minute match? And then the third real question is, then who wins the Rumble? So we have a lot to consider. We have almost all of the 30 spots named so far, and those participants are in no particular order: Roman Reigns, King Corbin, Dolph Ziggler. We have the Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura, which is unfortunate he's not defending his title at the Royal Rumble. Yet again, the IC title is a no-show on another pay-per-view. But that's a topic for another time. I imagine we'll see him and Braun, who's also in the Rumble match, have a bit of a back and forth since Braun is going after the IC title. So Braun Strowman, we have the SmackDown Tag Team Champions Kofi Kingston and Big E in there as well. Eric Rowan, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Elias, Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Otis and Tucker from Heavy Machinery, Rusev, Bobby Lashley, Aleister Black. We have the Raw Tag Team Champions Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins. We have Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, R-Truth undeclared after declaring that he would be in the Rumble, so that's kind of a up in the air. It was a joke for him to say that he's in the Rumble to take out Paul Heyman. Then when he realized it was Brock Lesnar, he took himself back out, but he's still listed at WWE.com as being in the Rumble. And then Cain Velasquez said on Twitter that, hey, I am going to be a part of the Rumble. I'm entering in the Royal Rumble. So it's not officially listed that he's there on WWE.com, but according to him, he's in the Rumble. Now, out of all those participants, that leaves us with just a few spots for surprises and returns. And as everybody's mentioned before, do we see The Undertaker? I think that The Undertaker will be there. He's been all but confirmed to be showing up at the Royal Rumble. Also not listed here, but pretty much confirmed, is Kane. So we'll have Kane be there. The Big Red Machine will be there on hand to take on none other than all the other participants in the Royal Rumble. Kane has a storied history at the Royal Rumble. He has the most appearances in any, out of everyone's career, and the most overall eliminations. He used to hold the title for most eliminations, but that was changed in years past. So are there any other surprises or people that you think would show up in the Rumble with a few remaining spots, Danny? And who do you think's going to win?
I would love to see Edge come back and win.
Ooh, great choice.
But I also think that Brock Lesnar is going to make it to the end. And if he did get eliminated, I think it would be by Ricochet, because seeing as on the last Monday Night Raw, Lesnar did kick him in the balls, So, Dad, what do you think?
So you think that Ricochet will eliminate Lesnar as a retaliation for him hitting him in the family jewels on this past Monday? That would be huge for Ricochet. And that doesn't necessarily set up a title match at Mania, but that could set up something for the Saudi show, and they still have time to set up the basically the WWE Championship match at WrestleMania, because this may not definitely go ahead and define who's fighting who at WrestleMania. They could pull something where it's just a Rumble victory might be towards the Fiend's title, and this will set up just storyline to build until then. I keep going back and forth. Well, before I say that, who do you think's going to win the Royal Rumble? So you said that Ricochet eliminates Lesnar towards the end. Those two questions are answered. Who wins the Rumble, Danny?
Well, if Roman doesn't win the last man standing match, I think that Roman has a good chance for winning this here. And then I think that maybe it would be Seth or Ricochet, because they haven't had their big moments lately either. So, Dad?
Yeah, Seth Rollins, he did topple Brock Lesnar last year, winning the Rumble, going on to WrestleMania, and burning it down. So that's always a possibility. I keep going back and forth with my decision here, but honestly, looking at this stacked and pretty stellar Royal Rumble, I think that Brock Lesnar is going to last to the end here. I think he's going to make it to probably even all 30 entrants come out. At that point in time, I think Edge is going to be a surprise in the Rumble. Well, also, I believe Kane will be there. I believe Undertaker will be there. I believe Cain Velasquez will be there, and that leaves us a few spots for people probably from NXT. I think that Drew McIntyre is going to eliminate Brock Lesnar, and that's going to set up the feud for them to go to WrestleMania 36 for the WWE Championship. Overall, I think since Roman Reigns loses the last man standing match earlier in the night, he turns around here and he wins the Royal Rumble to take on The Fiend at WrestleMania. Now, here's the thing with the Universal title. Roman doesn't have to win here at the Rumble to set up a match, so it almost feels like a waste if he does win. But what do I want? I want to see Drew McIntyre be victorious. I would love to see McIntyre win the Rumble here and declare that he's going to go ahead and take on Brock Lesnar. I would love to see him eliminate Lesnar and win the Rumble. You know, I've been dying and vying for him for quite some time now to have his moment to shine, and I think that that would be such a spectacular thing for him. Grand push, you know, strap a rocket to his ass and let him go. They've been giving him all this time on the mic and letting him have this new face persona that is crazy over with the fans. Now, does that mean that wastes what they did with Edge? I don't know. What does Edge do from here? Is it just a one and done? Are we going to get a match from him at Mania? You know, would they have Edge come back and not have him be victorious? That's a big question as well. So there's a lot to really mull over here, but unfortunately I see Roman winning, even though it's wholly unnecessary for him to be victorious here and set up a feud with Bray Wyatt. I think they can get there through the Elimination Chamber, and they have more than enough time to set that up. But Roman wins the Rumble, Drew McIntyre eliminates Brock, and Brock lasts pretty much the entirety of the Rumble. Do you have any last-minute comments or anything you want to say about the Royal Rumble pay-per-view as a whole, or any other predictions, Danny?
Like you said, I would also love to see The Undertaker come back, and Edge would be really cool to see.
Yeah, I agree. I you know, seeing Edge win the 2010 Royal Rumble, that's one of my favorite Rumbles. So many great moments in that Royal Rumble. If you haven't seen it, you know, in 10 years or so, go back and catch that. That's got so many great moments in it and storytelling. But I would love to see Edge win. I mean, unfortunately, a part-timer taking up... Yeah, well, I have a soft spot for Edge. I was also there in attendance when he announced his retirement in Connecticut, so that was heartbreaking and unexpected. He went on, you know, he had this great showing at WrestleMania, and then he shows up, you know, all but a few weeks after, and he has to retire. So that was a hell of a shocking blow. Lot to you know, unpack here, though. I hope it's going to be an exciting WrestleMania. You know, I hope we get a nice build coming out of the Royal Rumble here. And this is the starting point for WrestleMania. This is when we find out what the feuds are going to be, what matches we're going to get. Because as of right now, we don't really have that many tells. There's a lot to speculate, but there's no knowns or certainties. So I hope it's going to be a hell of a Mania. I hope, you know, everyone enjoys the show. Make sure you tune in to the the Royal Rumble review on the Joe Cronin Show following the pay-per-view. As soon as it's concluded, head over to youtube.com/Joe Cronin Show to watch the review there. And beforehand, if you're watching this now before the Royal Rumble, I will have a video up Saturday that allows you to enter the Royal Rumble Pick'em contest. This will be, I think, my third or fourth year doing this now with everybody. It's going to be for the Women's Royal Rumble. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to be assigned a number. I will go ahead and have you comment down below. You don't have to subscribe or like or, you know, anything of the following. You just have to go ahead and comment on the video, and I will assign you randomly through a number generator, a number between 1 and 30. And if that superstar at that corresponding number wins the Royal Rumble, then you win a prize pack. So go ahead and make sure to comment on that video when it comes out. Make sure you comment down below. Let us know what you think of our predictions and who you think is going to win the Royal Rumble for the men and women's side of things. Also, thank you so much again for tuning in. Hopefully you all subscribe, like the video, and as always, stay sexy.